It's the weekend. Be good to yourself. It's Katz's Corner with Dr. Aaron Katz and Dr. Philippa Cheetham, where you can get simple, straightforward answers to your questions about health, from diet and supplements to lifestyle changes. To reach Dr. Katz and Dr. Cheetham, call 800-848-WABC. Now, live on 77 WABC, the chairman of urology at Winthrop University Hospital in New York, with co-host Philippa Cheetham, attending in urology at Winthrop University Hospital. Here is Dr. Aaron Katz.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome again to another live round of Katz's Corner here on WABC Radio in New York. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Katz. We're live with Dr. Philippa Cheetham for the first time in a month. The two of us back in the studio with you to bring you the latest and greatest information, health under the belt, as we say. Good morning, Philippa. How are you?
I'm good. I thought you forgot the high five at the beginning.
No. I always give you the high five.
You always do.
I always do. We always make it. 1-800-848-9222 if you have a question for us. I see that we have a few on the phone already. We've had a good few weeks here, Philippa. You have some announcements you want to make right away?
All sorts of announcements. First of all, Men's Health Seminar is Saturday, June the 15th, 2013. Right. menshealthseminar.com to register. I was looking in the week at the number of people who've signed up, a number of familiar faces that have joined us on previous years, and some new names on the list as well. If you are not on the internet and you want to register, you can call 516-663-9615. That's 516-663-9615. The programme for our Men's Health Seminar is on our website. That's menshealthseminar.com. And as always, we'll be talking about prostate cancer prevention, heart health, bone health, sleep health, and the places... Sexual health, of course.
Don't forget that.
Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
And the places
Very
are filling
important.
up. So sign up if you want to come and join Dr. Katz at our Men's Health Seminar, Father's Day weekend. Great present, ladies, if you want to buy your loved ones a day with Dr. Katz and I to improve their health. And
Excellent.
My father is flying over from the UK.
You know what? That's wonderful. And you know what? I'm going to have my parents here this year. Yeah, because
Both
Alex
your dad and my dad together. That could be very interesting.
Alex is going to graduate high school the 18th, and this is on the 15th. So I'm going to have them come in for the weekend, and I don't think they've ever met, have they? Our parents?
No.
Right,
I don't think so.
Your dad will be.
Although I think they do speak periodically about the show.
Maybe on the internet and so forth. Yeah. Well, this looks like a great program. I'm just looking at it now. So make sure you sign up because already people are registered and there is limited seating. So we'd love to see you all out there. That's at menshealthseminar.com. So
there is a gentleman on the program who's flying in from Israel.
Wow.
There are a couple of people coming from the UK, so that's great news. And another piece of news, which you may or may not want to gloss over, prostate cancer risk is linked to early onset baldness, which has been published in a new study. It was French research.
What do you mean early on? I mean, first of all, I'm a little sensitive about this because
Why would that be?
Because I'm in my early 50s, but I'm losing my hair, but that's not early onset, is it?
No, it's not early.
You're talking about 30s?
Well,
20s?
I'm actually talking...
I had hair down on my shoulders.
I know, I've seen the pictures.
Curly hair.
Longer than mine, in fact.
Oh, God. Well,
this study was published by some French researchers, and it was published in the Journal of the American Association for Cancer Research. And they were looking at African-American men. There were 537 men in the study, 318 with prostate cancer and 219 controls. Now, we already know that black men have the highest incidence for prostate cancer in the United States, and they're actually twice as likely as white men to die from the disease. That's according to the National Cancer Institute. And this new study shows that men who start to go bald at age 20 may be more likely to develop prostate cancer. And interestingly, they looked at the baldness was on the front of the head, not so much at the back of the head.
So then what? What do you do then? You just get screened earlier?
Well, maybe. There's some interesting studies that are looking at this in a bit
Bald,
more detail.
Depressed, prostate cancer.
You know, we're always talking about PSA and how it's not perfect. So maybe we'll be looking at the front of men's head.
I hate these studies. You know, some of these, it's like, you know, what are you supposed to do? I mean,
go to the doctor, get screened.
A PSA earlier?
Well, you know, let's be serious. We want to get the message out that African American men are at increased risk. Yeah. So if you're an African American man, then please talk to your doctor about PSA screening. I've seen a lot of patients this week, black men with prostate cancer. Yeah. And, you know, these are the groups that often don't come for PSA screening. They're often not so much aware about their risk factors. And this is something that we really would want to encourage for black men to come to our seminar, menshealthseminar.com.
Yeah, we definitely want to get the word out to this type of a community. You know, African-American men, we need to get more at the seminar, for sure. And we have a number of patients that have told us that they're going to go into the churches and into the communities and raise awareness. So we hope that if you're listening out there, to please register and let all your friends know.
With or without hair. You can come.
With or without hair. We love you all. All right, we have a number of people on the phone, Philippa, so what do you think? We should take some phone calls this weekend on this Easter weekend? We want to wish everyone, by the way, a very happy Easter if you're celebrating that holiday today. We'll go to Manuel in Queens. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, doctors.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm trying to figure out options as far as my prostate cancer is concerned. I was diagnosed about 3.5 years ago. But my numbers indicated I should just have active surveillance. But my last biopsy changed things. I had 3 cores, and 2 of them, the Gleason score was 7.
Right. And how old are you, Emmanuel?
77.
Well, you've been doing, and your PSA bumped up a bit?
A bit. It's about 4.6.
That's not bad, right, Philippa? 4.6. A little bit more cores, though. You know, we have we probably have at our center at Winthrop now probably close to 500 patients on surveillance. And I'll tell you what I would do, and I'm not so sure.
I feel like I've seen every single one of them this week.
We've been very busy this week, and we have a lot of patients. The question is, how do we properly select them? And you know, elderly men, listen, 77 is not old, okay? Are you otherwise healthy?
Yeah.
Okay, otherwise healthy guy. Question is, do you need treatment? You've been doing it have you changed your diet? Have you done any of the supplements and dietary things that we've talked about here on Katz's Corner every week, or just kind of living your life?
The only thing I've done is eat more fruit and vegetables.
Well, that's good. Okay.
That's the only thing I've done.
None of the supplements, though. You know,
no, I haven't been on the supplements.
You know, I tell patients it's 3 things. It's diet, it's exercise, and it's the supplements. So, you know, perhaps we can send you our list of supplements. But I think that I would tell him, Philippa, to get an MRI. I mean, I think that the MRI, especially the one that we're using at Winthrop now, the 3.0T multiparametric MRI, can really tell you, Manuel, whether or not you have disease into your capsule. You know, that capsule, kind of like the peel around the orange, whether or not that's still intact. Because even though you have a few more cores, the question is, did you have those cores to begin with and they just weren't picked up originally on the biopsy? So, you know, do you really need treatment at this time at 77, PSA stable, maybe 1 or 2 more cores? But I would tell you to come out to get an MRI, Philippa.
Yes, I mean, first of all, there are certain criteria for having patients on active surveillance. The ideal criteria would be less than 2 cores and less than 50% of those cores being involved. So you're not the perfect patient for staying on active surveillance, but we have to balance that with everything else, with your medical health. I think an MRI would certainly be very useful to see whether there's any capsule invasion, as Dr. Katz has already mentioned. And also remember, there are a number of treatment options now, if you do need treatment, that you can have without actually having the prostate removed. We specialise in a number of focal therapies for prostate cancer where we don't need to remove the prostate, including cryo, HIFU, CyberKnife, and we can talk at length about those face-to-face, because each of those require a discussion. But it would be very good to see you with your biopsy report and actually confirm that the other cores are truly innocent and there aren't precancerous changes in the other cores. So come and see us.
You don't think the score of 7 on 2 two of the cores warrant?
It could, Manuel, but as Philip is saying, it's a very good point. Not all 7s are the same, and it really depends upon the volume, how much volume of the is in there, and whether or not it's a 4 plus 3 or a 3 plus 4. And
it was 3.4.
Yeah, 3 plus 4 may not be any different really than a 3 plus 3. And if your MRI is clear, your PSA velocity is okay. It sounds like. It's not an absolute indication to have treatment, especially at 77.
Sure.
Thanks for your phone call, Manuel. Come and see us and give us a call out at Winthrop. You can always check us online at winthrop.org, or you can call us on our phone number. That's 516-535-1900. And we have our offices here in Manhattan on Park Avenue, as well as out in beautiful Garden City. Carl in Paramus. Good morning, Carl. How are you?
Give us a call.
Carl, turn your radio down and jump on the line and tell us your question. Good morning.
On the line. Go ahead, Carl. Carl?
Yes. He's gone off to turn his radio down.
Oh, okay.
He's back now.
Yes, I
Good
did.
morning, Carl. Happy Easter.
Good morning, doctors. So they want me to have my prostate removed. Plan is to do it robotically. I was diagnosed in January, Gleason score of 7, 3 plus 4. And PSA of 12.6, and the caveat is that I have atrial fibrillation and I have regurgitating mitral valve, but the heart surgery cannot be scheduled until July or August, and yet my urologist is saying that's kind of long to wait, and there's no definitive answer whether I should go into surgery with the atrial fibrillation and regurgitated heart valve, or wait that long. They say waiting that long could be a problem.
Let me ask you, Carl, first of all, how old are you?
65.
Okay, and is your cardiologist and your prostate surgeon talking to each other? Are they both in the same hospital, and have they picked up the phone and spoke to each other?
They're not in the hospital. One's in Cleveland and one's in Cornell Weill, New York.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, Philippa brings up a good point. I mean, these two doctors need to get together and determine, which needs to come first. And it sounds like, clearly anything, I think, with the heart, I think you probably agree, Philippa, right? I mean, if you have a heart condition, that's probably going to take precedent, especially something that needs surgery. I don't know if you listened to our show. We had on Scott Schuback. He's the director of cardiovascular surgery out at Winthrop a couple of weeks ago, talking about a new way to repair your valve called a TAVR, which is a trans-aortic catheter replacement. I don't know if you'd be a candidate based upon your age. I forget exactly what the age cutoff was, Carl, but you could call Scott Schuback out at Winthrop. But I think Philippa brings up a good point. I mean, you've got to have these two doctors talking to each other to make a decision as to what you need first and take a move on it.
I mean, first thing to say, the prostate cancer did not arise overnight, and it's very unusual that if the prostate cancer is so aggressive that a cardiac problem that requires surgical intervention is going to take precedent to your prostate cancer. I would strongly urge you to get a second opinion. You can bring your cardiac reports in with you, and bring your biopsy reports. Let's have a look. Have you had any imaging? Have you had a bone scan, a CAT scan, an MRI?
Happily, doctor, to get the MRI back, and it's within the capsule. There's no seminal vesicles involved and no other involvements within the capsule. But it's just hard to detect. Certainly, the heart surgery should be done first, but the doctor that's doing it so busy he can do it till July or August.
Well, there's certainly plenty of excellent cardiac surgeons around, and I think that I would certainly want to have you in excellent cardiac health before
I think,
having
Carl,
anesthesia.
you need to see another cardiac surgeon. I mean, if you need heart surgery and the heart surgeon saying, I'm too busy, come back in July, I mean, what that's nonsense, isn't it? I mean,
yes.
Carl, why don't you give your telephone number to Mike, our producer, and you can, if you wish, I can call you with the fax number, and you can fax your reports to us, and we'll look at your cardiac results and your biopsy results, and we can certainly give you some recommendations for excellent cardiac
This is something that really requires coordinated care. When I listen and I talk to our robotic surgeons out at Winthrop, Dave Gershbaum and Joe Jamal, I mean, they have... they're operating on patients that have, some cardiac issues. They have a whole cardiac team that they are working with, cardiologists, cardiac surgeons, that they are on the phone with, that they're consulting with. It's not like one guy's in Cleveland, another guy's in New Jersey, and they're not talking. This is very important.
The other thing, Carl, is that Dr. Katz and I know the robotic surgeons at Cornell, Columbia, Winthrop, and no prostate surgeon wants a patient to have a cardiac problem under anaesthesia. So I think it would certainly be worth getting a second opinion. Give your number to Mike and we'll be glad to receive your faxed reports and look through those, and I can give you a call back.
Thank you. Would you direct all of us listeners to some type of you had a list of dietary supplements that were good to take?
Sure.
Yes, yeah, sure. Well, if you give us maybe your email or something, as we get off the line, and we can send that.
There's
to
also
you.
a list on my own website, drcheetham.com, and if you want to go there, the supplements are listed there, and there's an email address, and Dr. Katz and I have a sheet of supplements that if you email the email address on that website, we'll gladly put the list there for you. Okay? And also, if you come to our Men's Health Seminar, Father's Day weekend, so Saturday, June the 15th, we're going to be talking extensively about supplements for prostate cancer prevention, and one of our speakers is talking about integrative medicine, Gillian Capodici, who was on the show with us last week. Yeah.
I mean, she runs the acupuncture and holistic integrative program up at Columbia. I know her very well, and she'll be there, Carl, as well as many vendors will be there this year, we hope. Some have already signed on as well to come and explain what their products are about, the mechanism of action, the science behind them, and how they can be very helpful. So thanks, Carl. Thanks for tuning in, and we're here for you, and let us know how we can help you. So give us your contact information.
And
okay?
in fact, we're sat right next door to Islands Cardiology in our offices, so they can help us evaluate your cardiac reports as well. So
that's
send
right.
those through, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in a whole suite of about 15 really top-notch cardiologists out there called Island Cardiac out at Garden City. So we can really help you quite a bit, Carl. Thanks.
Thank you, doctors.
1-800-848-WABC is our number, 1-800-848-9222 here at 7:20 on this Easter Sunday. Good morning, everyone. If you're just waking up, if you're going to church or synagogue, or we hope that you all had a wonderful holiday weekend this week. And we have some other news. Yes, Philippa.
Well, I was just thinking after Carl's phone call, and I was talking a little bit about this on Fox TV yesterday about reduction in junior doctors' hours. There's some recent data out that was saying that there are still a number of errors. And, one thing that just comes to mind listening to Carl is that, we have a $4 million cyber knife. We have a $2.5 million Da Vinci robot to do prostate surgery. But one thing that is key is communication, just simple communication between doctors and patients and between other doctors. So many patients we see with prostate cancer do have cardiac issues and other medical problems. And we mustn't forget that there is a thing called a telephone.
Yeah.
We pick up the phone and say, talk to his cardiologist. If he was a patient of mine, you'd want to know that he was in good cardiac health. Yeah. And so often we're becoming so specialised in our own little field, and we have to remember that we're dealing with patients. Yeah,
that's one of the nice things that I've had at Winthrop. Having spent so many years at Columbia and now at Winthrop, I feel that we do have that open communication there, especially with people like John Haas, who you and I have a wonderful relationship with, and someone comes in with early stage prostate cancer, they want an evaluation. I pick up the phone, I say, John, this gentleman's here. He's maybe a good candidate for CyberKnife. Sure, Aaron, no problem. Send him down the block. I'll see him right now. Or if you're not, I'll see him this afternoon or whatever. That's the nice thing. I can just pick up the phone and call, the cardiologist, radiation oncologist. So I think your point is very
and also,
important.
Patients who come in who've been doing very well. Sometimes if they've been under the same doctor for year after year after year, it's actually quite good for them to get a second opinion because you just see that through a different set of eyes. And I always encourage my patients to get a second opinion.
Yeah, well, if you are diagnosed with someone, I think it is important to get a second opinion, not only about what you should do, but also get a second opinion about your biopsy, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
I always have patients have the biopsy reviewed. Sometimes it may be may not be as aggressive as you had thought or originally was thought, especially if you're going to a urologist that uses a pathologist that is not necessarily a pathology expert in prostate, that they're not just doing prostate all day. That's a nice thing that we have at Winthrop, because we have pathologists that just do prostate and urology. There are pathologists out there that do colon and breast and, thyroid, but I think you need a dedicated team to look at these prostate pathology reports.
And every week you hear about patients who've been told you must have this surgery as soon as possible, you must have this radiation therapy as soon as possible. It may sound a bit cynical, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, it is a business. And remember that if you've been diagnosed, don't rush into something. Get opinions. When you choose a treatment, it's a one-way ticket. So make sure that you've looked at all other treatment options before you sign on the dotted line. It's very rare that we see a prostate cancer that needs treatment within a matter of days.
Yeah,
you have time to do your homework. And if somebody wants to see you, and they should be able to fit you in.
Jimmy from Westchester on Katz's Corner. Good morning, Jimmy. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I know you don't have much time. I get right to the point. I told my doctor I'd like to have my kidney function checked. So he sent me for an ultrasound, and the results came back. He said the kidney, bladder, everything is fine. He said there's a small to a slight to moderate increase in the size of your prostate. And he said, I know how you are. You're always worried about your health. So I made an appointment with your office in Manhattan. They said the earliest I can get there is the 24th of May.
I can see you tomorrow, Jimmy.
Dr. Cheetham has started.
Come into my office tomorrow.
Yeah, sorry about the wait there, Jimmy. I'll tell you one thing, though. I saw a patient like you this week. You had what's called a trans-abdominal ultrasound, okay, where they probably put the ultrasound probe on your belly, not into the rectum, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, and you know what, Jimmy? That overestimates the prostate enormously. I had a patient this week, I can tell you the same thing, came in. They told him his prostate was 160 grams, which is very large. Do you know how big yours is? Did they tell you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I got the report. I can, if need be, I can call and get a number or something and fax it to you.
Yeah. What you need to do is probably have, Dr. Cheetham or I do what's called a transrectal ultrasound. That's the more appropriate and better test to tell you the exact size.
He said it's normal for someone my age, but I don't go by that. Yeah. I don't go by that. I want to know. I want to stay on top of anything.
I hear you. Well, come into
our normal.
Okay. I mean, it's not urgent that if you want to see me in May, that's fine. It's not an urgent thing. It doesn't sound like it. I mean,
that's what I wanted to know.
You're urinating.
My PSA is 1.14.
How old are you?
70.
70? You got a PSA? What are you doing right over there?
Well, I eat right. I exercise. I never smoke, never drink, never use no illegal drugs or nothing. Keep my weight in order,
That's right. Well, look at you. You have a wonderful PSA, and you're urinating okay?
No problem.
Well, I'm not so concerned about you at this point. Philippa, you have a question?
I do. In this situation, Jimmy, the good news is that size does not matter.
Right.
And you can have a huge prostate on ultrasound and have no symptoms. And if that prostate is not causing any obstruction and you're emptying your bladder, then we don't just treat prostates based on size. Equally, you can have a small prostate that's causing obstruction, may be resulting in symptoms. It sounds like there's absolutely nothing that you need to do or worry about. And a great call. And the other thing is...
May I add, there's no sexual functions or anything. Everything is just great.
Wow. Well, the air must be good up in Westchester.
Thank you very much, but I'm still coming in to see you. I'd like for you to take a look, doctor.
Absolutely. Well, sure. The number is 516-535-1900.
Oh, I made the appointment already.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Good for you.
Well, then keep the appointment, Jimmy. It's not an urgent thing. I think if you can get in May, that's fine.
Come and join us at a Men's Health Seminar, menshealthseminar.com, Saturday, June the 15th.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. I listen to you every week ever since you've been on.
Wow. Thanks very much, Jimmy.
Bye.
We do have a lot of listeners out there. Every week they wake up and listen to our show, and they're all saying, can we do it longer, get it on longer, A
patient said to me on Friday, you better be on Katz's Corner this weekend, Cheetham, after the last 2 weeks of being off. So.
Okay. Well, it's good to have you back.
Very loyal following.
If you're just tuning in, we're just about the end of the show here today, but I do want to remind everyone again about our Men's Health Seminar. We're going to start talking about this more and more. It is on June 15th, 2013 at the Garden City Hotel. We hope that all of you will be out there to come and hear what we have to say, as well as our other speakers. And yes, Philippa.
The call that's waiting on the line from Steve, I can actually answer his question.
All right, let's go to Steve. Go ahead. Steve in Long Island.
Yes, good morning. Thank you.
You're welcome, Steve. How are you today?
Hello there. I spoke to you a few weeks ago about Dr. Oz and his antioxidants, and he's cutting back on antioxidants. I'm not sure if you had a chance to talk to him about that.
Philippa?
We did actually, and in fact we covered this on the show the following week with Dr. Jackie Brunetti, and we went through a number of studies with Dr. Brunetti talking about the studies that had looked at antioxidants and addressing this issue that had come up on the Dr. Oz show that you'd kindly informed us about. So, Steve, if you go onto the podcast, wabcradio.com, click on podcast, you can go back and listen to that show. Many of these studies on antioxidants were flawed. We talked a lot about the studies on vitamin E and the antioxidant role and the confusion regarding prostate cancer and how they looked at the wrong type of vitamin E. So listen to the podcast, wabcradio.com, and that should answer all your questions because it was very comprehensively covered by Dr. Brunetti the week after you called. And thanks again, and for all the listeners out there, if there's a specific subject you want us to cover on Katz's Corner, then go onto the Facebook page, Katz's Corner Radio Show Facebook page, post a comment, and Dr. Katz and I will pick that up, run with it, and cover a show for you.
It's not just about taking antioxidants, though. I think it's about taking in foods that limit oxidation. And, oxidation is been described as things that can cause DNA damage, more fats in the diet, more meats in the diet, more fried foods in the diet, less vegetables. If you do all of these things, less fresh vegetables, you're causing your body to undergo all of these DNA mutations, and that's why I think that we're seeing so much of an explosion of these cancers.
Free radicals, isn't it? Free radicals.
It's free radicals, and yes, taking in the antioxidants can help, but that's just, I think, part of it.
Sure.
I really do.
You can't have an antioxidant drink with a hamburger and hope that everything's okay.
Oh, that's a great end to the show. Terrific show. Went by very quick, as always. Tune in every week. Don't forget, menshealthseminar.com. Please register. Or you can check us out at winthrop.org. Have a great day. Happy Easter, everyone. This is Dr. Aaron Katz.